Alright, CaiLife class, gather round. Because today, I'm going to grade EA Sports FC 26 on the Nintendo Switch 2. Because yes, whilst this game does have moments of genius, it also has a few that should be sent straight to detention. I've split this up into things that I love about FC 26, things that I think need improvement, and things that I absolutely genuinely hate. I'm going to hand out grades from A to F along the way. Let's see if EA have finally done their homework, shall we? Let's go. So first up is a section that I want to call goals on the go, and I'm giving this a grade A+. You get the full Ultimate Team experience and career mode in your hands. So yes, that means division rivals, weekend league, doing your squad building challenges, rush mode, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in a bit, don't you worry. It's all here. There is a very strong argument that if you want to play career mode or Ultimate Team on the go, on a handheld, in different locations, and not have to be tethered to a monitor, that the Switch 2 is the premium experience. Now, I've spoken about this before, but obviously other alternatives are available, like the MSI Claw, like the Legion Go 2, like the newly released Xbox ROG Ally X. But the Switch 2 is legitimately half the price of an ROG Ally X, and just generally way easier to pick up and play. I've said it before, and I'll say it again and again and again, being able to play this game docked, and then being able to take your Switch 2 out of the dock, go and sit on your sofa, go and lay in bed, go and take it to the cafe, go and sit on a plane or a train, and continue being able to play your modes is absolutely awesome. Now, this is one of those experiences that makes the Switch 2 not feel like the forgotten console, but just bear with me. Game share and local multiplayer. This also gets a grade A. Now that's because game share is a low-key revolution in this generation of consoles. Hand a Joy-Con to a mate or link up to another Switch 2 and you're in a match instantly. It's honestly the perfect couch setup, and it's a throwback to how football games should feel. A real throwback to having someone over or being out and about and just being able to give them a Joy-Con and play a game of FC. Game share brings a whole new vibe altogether because you only need one copy of FC 26 between you if you want to have just a simple exhibition kickoff match. And you can do this either locally with someone that's also got a Switch 2 or Switch 1, or you can even play online and they still don't need to own the actual game. Essentially, it's being streamed from your console and it holds up really well. I've done 2 videos testing game share, so go check those out. Now, if you want to do deeper modes like co-op seasons or clubs, you will need to have a copy of the game each. You cannot use the game share feature in these modes. But with game share and the Joy-Cons being such a strong feature of the Nintendo Switch 2, I've got to hand it to Nintendo in how they've linked up with EA Sports to make this such a compelling way to play the game. So this gets an A from me. Presentation and atmosphere, this gets an A- from me. We've got lighting, crowds, and replays, and they've all had a serious glow up. The new shadows make night games look gorgeous, and the crowd audio feels alive. Yes, there have been some limitations, and that's why I'm giving this an A- rather than an A, and EA Sports have already said that they had to make some trade-offs with the Nintendo Switch 2 version of the game, and obviously we know that's in the case of things like us playing at 30 FPS rather than 60, and slightly lower graphical fidelity on things like player models and the detail in the crowd. But for a portable handheld console that's only been out for a few months, and EA Sports' first effort on a new console, this does look genuinely good. Now, still in this tier is gameplay and performance. I am giving this, though, a B-. So let's start with the good things. Now, the gameplay. Now, obviously, after years of the dreaded legacy editions on the original Nintendo Switch, the Frostbite engine running on the Switch 2 does feel like a genuine miracle on a Nintendo console. The animations are smooth, the tackles feel weighty, and for the first time, handheld football actually feels next-gen. Now, I play entire sessions in handheld mode without a single frame drop. Docked, it's crisp and it's stable, and honestly, if you'd shown me this a couple of years ago, even if you'd only shown me this maybe 6 or 8 months ago, I would have laughed in terms of the jump from the Nintendo Switch 1. But this looks good and it feels good. However, obviously this has to get a B- because we're running at only 30 frames per second and not 60. Now, this is not a game breaker by any means, but would it be better? Would it be nicer for us to be running at 60 FPS? Absolutely, undeniably. It seems like, though, that for this first iteration, EA Sports could not find enough trade-offs to give us 60 FPS. Now, I'm going to save the implications that might drag this under a B- for another topic, because this is specifically about gameplay and performance. And despite that 30 FPS factor, this essentially is the same game that you'd find on the PS5, PC, or Xbox Series X. Alright, so let's move on to our could be improved tier. Now, these are decidedly C grade markings. So first of all, we're going to go for controls and Joy-Con precision. Now look, the Joy-Cons are awesome and we loved them when they first appeared on the Nintendo Switch 1, but yeah, they're fine. They're fine, but for skill moves or for tight defending, and we all know that for FC26, you need to have your stick dribbling down to a fine art. Claudia Pino, I'm looking at you. The thumbsticks on the Joy-Con still feel a little bit floaty. Now, use a Pro Controller too, and it's genuinely night and day. But in my opinion, handheld players deserve better precision. These aren't Hall effect joysticks, and I really think that Nintendo could have upped their game in the hardware for the Switch 2, or the hardware of the Joy-Con at least, to have given us a better, more premium feel with the controls. Now, so much so that whenever I play in handheld, and like I say, I have long sessions of FC26 in handheld, I only use my Pro Controller 2. So I don't ever hold my Nintendo Switch 2 when I'm playing FC26. I'll always use this. Also getting a C here is the menus and navigation. Now, some menus in FC26 are snappy enough, and others feel like they're about as responsive as something you'd expect to find in about 2017. There can be some serious lag skipping between the menus, and some screens take a while to load, but I put this firmly at the feet of EA Sports. They've had a poorly optimized UI on all platforms for so long now. And why can't I skip half of these cutscenes faster? Why is there not just a button to skip rather than having to hold to skip? It's the most infuriating thing. Honestly, EA's UI designers, extra homework for you guys. Now, career mode is in this as well. It's getting a C+ from me. Now, yes, it's great, and I have put it in the first tier as a gaming on the go feature, but listen, if you're playing it docked, career mode still feels to me like the slightly forgotten side of FC26. Obviously, the moneymaker for EA Sports is Ultimate Team. And yes, we've got the new tactic systems, but there isn't the story depth, and I just feel like even though this isn't really a specific Nintendo Switch 2 problem, we could do with a little bit more effort on the career mode side of things. Now, what I will say is that we have the completely already obsolete Nintendo Switch 2 camera that really can't let us do anything unless you're friends with someone. Let us use the camera to be able to scan our faces so that we can use our faces in the pro mode, the clubs mode, or even in some match or exhibition modes. Just let us be able to scan our faces, or for career mode, for manager mode, let us be able to use our faces. Please give us some functionality for the freaking camera. Now, I was debating whether I put a lack of crossplay in this section or in the things I hate section. For now, I'm putting it in this middle section because we can't really have crossplay at 30 FPS. If we were running at 60 FPS and we didn't have crossplay, that would firmly be in the things that I hate. But I'm sort of torn with this one because we can't have crossplay when we have a frame rate disparity. But it's not ideal, and there are many reasons, and we're coming to those right now, why having crossplay is sort of essential. So let's get into the things I hate. This is the F tier. Welcome to the F tier. Right, let's start with some of the obvious ones. Rush mode. Oh my God. Now I'm about to show you a clip that I have sped up. This is me trying to find a rush match yesterday for 45 minutes. This video clip was 45 minutes. I didn't find a single rush match in that entire time. And this is a limited time set of rush objectives based around Ultimate Scream, obviously based around Halloween time. So we need to complete these. Now, I've said up to this point that finding rush matches is largely a region-based problem. If you're not in Europe, obviously the player base is thinner, Nintendo Switch 2 sales are thinner, you might struggle with the matchmaking. I generally haven't had that much of a problem finding rush matches, but now that there are a whole bunch of new Ultimate Team modes, especially things like Gauntlet and the Silver Team Superstars and Rivals and Weekend League and Squad Battles. There are so many different options. An already fairly thin player base is spread even thinner. So I can't even find a rush match. This isn't good enough. This isn't good enough for any of us, but more so for those who are in certain regions where they haven't been able to find a single rush match since purchasing the game. And this has nothing to do with limited time or limited time event modes, even just standard rush. They haven't been able to find those matches. And the thing is, if you cannot find and play rush matches, you cannot access the transfer market. That is not good enough from EA Sports. Down in this F tier as well is lack of support from EA Sports. Now, yes, the game only came out 6 weeks ago, but EA Sports needed to have started really strong with showing that they're going to support the Nintendo Switch 2 as much as they do all of the other platforms. Nintendo players haven't felt like that playing FC or FIFA on the Nintendo Switch 1 with legacy editions that just run like absolute pap. And already there had been fears with us playing at 30 frames per second and no crossplay that the same thing might happen. But EA have been keen to include Nintendo Switch 2 specific bugs and glitches in their fixes for patches. The problem is that they're not releasing these title update patches for the Nintendo Switch 2. So updates are being fed to the PC, Xbox, PlayStation 5 version, but also PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of the game, but they're not being fed to us. Now, it's all good and well that EA Sports are focusing on those fixes for Nintendo Switch 2 specific problems with FC26, and just things like the subs remaining on the pitch at halftime, or random players that should have been subbed off just frozen on the pitch, which is a massive game-breaking bug. Not in the sense that it crashes the game, but it makes it so hard to play and defend and score when it looks like there are randomly 6 or 7 extra players on the pitch at any one time. That specific bug was detailed in the 1.1.0 patch that should have been released about 2 weeks ago, but it's nowhere to be seen. It's absolutely nowhere to be seen, and this is not good enough from EA Sports. If you're looking to build some kind of loyalty to FC26 on this platform, you need to support the hell out of this game right now. Otherwise, you've got no chance of this game surviving, let alone thriving, heading into FC27. Now, because of the lack of attention in areas like this, it means that there's just general stagnation with the game. Now, despite all of these complaints, I am still really enjoying playing it, but I would enjoy it a lot more if I felt like EA Sports were just being more attentive and were at least saying, look, we're working on this. Nintendo Switch 2 owners, don't worry, we're working on this. We're looking to get a fix out for you. We want to make sure you don't have a problem with matchmaking. We want to help stimulate the transfer market and stimulate the economy of the transfer market. But at the moment, even after only 6 weeks, frustrations are beginning to build. Now, there are other things that sit in the F tier that are absolutely nothing to do with the Nintendo Switch 2 version of the game. Things like the monetization and the packs and the store. Is it still pay to win? Pretty much. Yes, absolutely. And some of the packs that have been released already, yes, the Heroic Season Opener pack, I'm looking at you, are literally a way to just pay to get, bam, a whole load of fantastic players. What I will say is that I disagree with the people that say the rewards from things like squad battles and rivals and weekend league aren't strong enough. I actually think they're pretty good, and EA Sports have been on it with their SBC. So the game feels really dynamic, and every single day there's something new to do and complete. But are you going to have a weaker squad if you don't spend money in the store? Of course you are. And this is where I'd like to see EA, rather than on a day-by-day basis saying, hey, here's a new pack in the store, I'd like them to say, oh, hang on a minute, let's just focus on the things that need fixing in one of the major new releases on the Nintendo Switch 2. So I really want them to, and I say this because, listen, EAFC 26 is sitting, the time I recorded this video last week, it was at number 2 in the charts for Nintendo Switch 2 sales. That's crazy. That's huge. It was only behind the new Pokemon release. So it's not like it's not selling. It's not like the audience isn't there for it. And we're heading towards Black Friday. We're heading towards Christmas, where more people want to get the game. So support your freaking release on this console. So let's have a look at my final report card, and then I want to just generally go over the things that I'm really enjoying and the things that I'm not. For gameplay and mechanics, I'm giving FC26 on the Nintendo Switch 2 an A. For performance and graphics, I'm giving it a B-. For online stability, I'm giving it a B. For content and features, I'm giving it an A+. For monetization and fairness, I'm giving it a big fat F. And for EA Sports actually giving this version of the game attention and making sure that it's at its best, I'm giving it a U. Now, overall, taking into account how much fun I'm having with FC26, I'm giving it a B-. Now, that might surprise you, but listen, I've been playing FC26 pretty much every day since launch. And one of those grades that I didn't really speak too much about was content and features, and at the end of the day, we've got tons of it. One of the great things about the Nintendo Switch 2 release is that there aren't any compromises on the actual content in the game. It's all there. And we can play it sat down at a desk in docked mode. We can go and sit on a couch or in a chair. Like I say, you can go to a cafe, you can sit on a train, and you can just smoothly take this game anywhere. And despite the fact that, yes, there are some major gripes and the frustrations are starting to build with the lack of support from EA Sports, I'm still absolutely loving playing this game. So look, my take is that FC26 on the Nintendo Switch 2 finally feels like it belongs in the same classroom as the big consoles. It's not perfect, nowhere near. EA still massively need to polish the online side of this game, especially matchmaking, and arguably need to chill out with the store pricing, but that's not a Nintendo Switch 2 specific problem. But for handheld football fans, it's a massive win. Now, what grades would you give FC26? Let me know down in the comments. I'll feature the funniest grades and comments in my next video, so let me know. Now, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping fresh content or going live in a live stream on the channel. But until that next video, CaiLifers, you know how we do. Take care, much love, bam, peace out.